I'm Hannah Carter, and for the past 9 years, I've been living in the shadows, hiding the truth about the real father of my two children. But everything fell apart when a stranger kidnapped my daughter and left a chilling note. Stop digging, or she'll disappear forever. That was the moment I knew. The past I had fought so hard to bury was back, and ready to destroy everything. Before I share my story, tell me where you're watching from in the comments and hit like and subscribe if you've ever pushed through impossible challenges for your family. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happens next. The fairy horn cut through the morning fog like a knife through silk, and I clutched my coffee tighter, watching the steam rise and disappear into the gray. Bainbridge Island mornings always started this way, wrapped in mist so thick you could barely see 20 feet ahead. Perfect weather for hiding. Mom, why don't other kids have dads who pick them up? Sophie's question hit me between the ribs, sharp and unexpected. I'd been tying Liam's shoelaces while she stood by the door, backpack already on, that serious look she got when she'd been thinking too hard about something. Some families are different, I said, keeping my voice steady. We have each other, don't we? Yeah, but come on, we'll miss the school bus. I ushered them out before she could finish, before I had to lie again. The twins ran ahead through the fog, their matching rain jackets like bright yellow beacons. 9 years old. God, where had the time gone? I watched them board the bus, Sophie helping Liam with his oversized science project, and felt that familiar ache. They deserved more than half-truths and locked boxes. Harbor Haven Rescue sat at the edge of the water, a collection of weathered buildings that had seen better days. But it was mine, ours, and after 3 years of barely making rent, we'd finally turned a corner. The morning feeding was already underway when I arrived, volunteers moving between the pools where we kept our patients. Hannah! Marcus, my assistant, jogged over. Coast Guard called. They've got an injured seal pup down by Faye Bainbridge. Can you take it? I nodded, already grabbing my kit. This was what I lived for now. The simple clarity of helping creatures who couldn't help themselves. No lies, no betrayal, just need and response. The drive to the beach took 15 minutes through streets still sleeping. I parked at the overlook and made my way down the rocky path, fog so thick I could taste salt on my tongue. The pup wasn't hard to find. A small gray form huddled against a driftwood log, one flipper clearly injured. Hey there, little one, I murmured, approaching slowly. Harbor seals were naturally skittish, and an injured one could be unpredictable. Let's see what happened to you. That's when I heard the boat engine. Through the fog, a sleek yacht materialized like something from a dream, or a nightmare. The engine cut, and I heard footsteps on the dock above. Need help down there? The voice froze me, solid. Deep, with that slight Boston accent that used to make me weak. A voice I'd tried to forget for 9 years, 3 months, and 16 days? I didn't look up. Couldn't. Instead, I focused on the seal pup, hands suddenly shaking as I prepared the carrier. I've got it, I called back, pitching my voice lower, different. But he was already climbing down, expensive shoes slipping on the wet rocks. Doesn't look like a one-person job. And then he was there, crouching beside me in his soaked designer jacket, and I had no choice but to glance sideways at him. Those gray eyes, storm-colored, I used to call them, met mine for a heartbeat before I looked away. Ethan Prescott. After all this time, after everything, here he was on my beach, helping me save a seal pup like the universe had a sick sense of humor. I'm a vet, I lied smoothly, using my middle name. Catherine Mills, I run the rescue center up the road. He nodded, seemingly buying it, and together we got the pup into the carrier. His hands were steadier than mine, gentle with the frightened animal. I remembered those hands. Ethan Prescott, he said, standing and offering his hand like we were strangers, like he hadn't once promised me forever. Sorry about the boat. I'm meeting someone at the Marina. Saw you down here and thought, it's fine, thanks for the help. I needed to leave. Now. Before he looked too close, before he heard something familiar in my voice despite my efforts to disguise it. The rescue center, he said suddenly. Harbor Haven? I think my fiancé mentioned it. She's organizing some charity thing. Fiancé. The word shouldn't have hurt after all this time, but it did. Small world, I managed. Yeah, he smiled, and it was still crooked, still devastating. Maybe I'll see you around. Not if I could help it. 3 days. That's how long I managed to avoid thinking about gray eyes and designer jackets. Then Ethan Prescott walked through my rescue center's front door, carrying the seal pup we'd saved. Catherine! He spotted me before I could duck into the back office. I wanted to check on our patient. Our patient, like we were some kind of team. He's doing well, I said, forcing professional distance into my voice. The flipper wasn't as bad as it looked. Few weeks and he'll be ready for release. Sophie and Liam chose that moment to burst through the side door, still in their school uniforms. They'd taken the early ferry to spend the afternoon at the center, their favorite place besides home. Mom, can we feed the otters? I watched Ethan's face change as he took them in. Watched him catalog Liam's sandy hair, so like his own, and Sophie's gray eyes. My gray eyes, but in certain lights. These your kids? His voice was carefully neutral. Yes. I busied myself with paperwork. Sophie, Liam, this is Mr. Prescott. He helped rescue the seal pup. Cool. Liam bounced over, all 9-year-old enthusiasm. Was it scared? Did it bite? I want to be a marine biologist when I grow up, or maybe a pirate. Ethan laughed, and the sound punched a hole through my chest. Pirate's a good backup plan. Can you teach us to sail? Sophie asked, always the bold one. You have that big boat, right? Sophie. I'd love to, Ethan said, looking at me with those searching eyes. If your mom says it's okay. We're very busy, I said quickly. School and... Please, Mom? Liam turned those puppy eyes on me, the ones I could never resist. We never get to do anything fun like that. Before I could respond, the door chimed again. A man in his 30s entered, all sharp angles and sharper eyes. He looked between Ethan and me with interest that made my skin crawl. Mr. Prescott? Lucas Chen, Seattle Tribune. I'm doing a piece on maritime industry leaders. Mind if I ask a few questions? Ethan's jaw tightened. I don't do interviews. Not even about the Prescott Industries expansion or the interesting timing of certain contracts? Mom, Sophie tugged my sleeve. Why does that man look angry? Lucas's gaze shifted to the twins, lingering on Liam's face. That searching look I'd seen too many times, people trying to place who he reminded them of. Beautiful children, Lucas said mildly. Strong family resemblance. My heart hammered against my ribs. We're closed for the day. All of you need to leave. Of course. Lucas pulled out a business card, pressing it into my hand. His fingers lingered a second too long. In case you remember anything interesting about Mr. Prescott, I have a feeling you two go way back. After they left, Ethan shooting confused looks over his shoulder, I locked the door and leaned against it. Sophie and Liam watched me with worried eyes. Mom, are you okay? Fine, baby. Just tired. That night, after the twins were asleep, I pulled out the locked box from my closet. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was the only photo I'd kept. Ethan and me at Pike Place Market, laughing at something I couldn't remember. His arm around me, my hand on his chest, the ring he'd given me catching the light. I'd been 21 and stupid enough to believe love conquered all. Before Madeline's lies. Before the evidence that I'd cheated. Before he'd looked at me with such disgust, I'd wanted to die. Before I'd realized I was pregnant and alone. I put the photo back and locked the box. Some doors were meant to stay closed. But Lucas Chen's card sat on my kitchen counter like a threat, and I had a feeling my carefully built walls were about to come crashing down. The past had knocked once, gently, with an injured seal pup. Now it was pounding on the door, demanding to be let in. Outside, fog rolled in from the sound, and I wondered how long I could keep hiding in it. The confrontation came at the ferry terminal a week later. 5:30 evening sailing, drizzle turning the world watercolor soft. I was herding the twins toward the boat when Ethan appeared from the shadows by the ticket booth. We need to talk. Sophie and Liam looked between us, sensing the tension. I forced a smile. Why don't you two go grab seats? I'll be right there. They reluctantly moved away, but not far, close enough to watch, but not hear. There's nothing to talk about, I said quietly. Don't. His voice was rough. Don't pretend. I know who you are, Hannah. My fake name crumbled like sand. How? The way you hold your shoulders when you're nervous. The scar on your left hand from that cooking disaster junior year. He stepped closer, and I smelled his cologne, different from before, more expensive, but underneath still him. 9 years, Hannah. 9 years of thinking you were in New York, married to that guy from your ethics class. I never married anyone. I can see that. His eyes flicked to the twins. When were you going to tell me? The ferry horn blasted. 5 minutes to departure. Tell you what. I kept my voice steady. That I raised them alone after you threw me away like garbage, that I watched them take their first steps, say their first words, ask their first questions about why they didn't have a dad, all by myself? I didn't. He stopped, jaw working. I saw the emails, Hannah, the photos. The ones Madeline showed you? I watched his face change. Yeah, I figured that out. Took me a while, but when your best friend disappears the same week your fiancé dumps you for cheating you never did, you start connecting dots. Madeline? The name came out strangled. Your fiancé, my former best friend. Funny how that worked out? The boarding call echoed across the terminal. Sophie was waving at me, impatient. They're mine. It wasn't a question. No. The lie came out sharp, protective. They're mine. You gave up any claim when you chose to believe her instead of me. Hannah, I have to go. I started toward the ferry, but his hand caught my arm, gentle but firm. I'm not letting you disappear again. You don't get a choice. I pulled free. Stay away from us, Ethan. You've got your perfect life, your perfect fiancé. Don't destroy mine because you're having second thoughts. I made it 3 steps before his words stopped me cold. I never stopped looking for you. But I kept walking, gathering my children and finding seats inside the passenger deck. Through the rain-streaked windows, I watched him standing on the dock, hands in his pockets, looking lost. Was that the boatman? Liam asked. Yes. He looked sad, Sophie observed. Why didn't he come with us? He has his own home to go to. That night, after bedtime stories and goodnight kisses, I found an email from an unknown address. My heart stopped when I opened it. I know what she did. Meet me at the Blackbird Cafe tomorrow at noon. Come alone. Elsie Lucas Chen. The reporter with the searching eyes. I deleted the email, but the word stayed burned in my mind. Someone else knew. After all these years of careful hiding, the truth was seeping out like water through cracks in a dam. In their room, I watched my children sleep. Liam had kicked off his covers, starfish sprawled across the bed. Sophie was curled tight, Mr. Buttons, the stuffed whale, clutched to her chest. They looked so peaceful, so unaware of the storm building around us. My phone buzzed. Ethan's number. How did he even get it? I'm not engaged to Madeline anymore. Broke it off tonight. We need to talk about our children. Our children. The words I dreamed of hearing for 9 years, but now they terrified me. I turned off the phone and crawled into bed, pulling the covers over my head like I was 5 years old again, believing that if I couldn't see the monsters, they couldn't see me. But morning would come, bringing Lucas Chen and his knowing smile, bringing questions I'd spent 9 years avoiding, bringing the past crashing into the present whether I was ready or not. The Blackbird Cafe squatted on 3rd Avenue like a noir film set, all exposed brick and dim lighting. Lucas Chen was already there, laptop open, looking like every investigative journalist cliché rolled into one. Hannah Carter, he said as I sat down. Or should I say Hannah Chen? We were in the same graduating class at UW, though I doubt you remember me. I didn't, but I kept my face neutral. What do you want? Direct. I like that. He spun his laptop around. On the screen was a photo. Madeline Shaw at a bank in Portland, dated 1 week before Ethan had ended things with me. Interesting thing about digital footprints, they never really disappear. My coffee arrived, and I wrapped my hands around it to stop them shaking. So Madeline withdrew $50,000 in cash that week, the same week those photos of you supposedly cheating surfaced, the same week she discovered those emails. He leaned back. Now I'm investigating Prescott Industries for potential financial irregularities. But this is something else entirely. Why do you care about ancient history? Because it's not ancient. Another photo, Madeline with a man I didn't recognize, exchanging an envelope. She's been paying someone off for years. Monthly transfers, always cash, started right after your twins were born. The coffee turned to acid in my stomach. How do you know about? Please. Anyone with eyes can see Liam is Ethan's son. The resemblance is uncanny. He studied me. What I can't figure out is why you ran, why you let her win. I was 21 and pregnant, I said quietly. The man I loved believed I'd betrayed him. His family had money, power, lawyers. What was I supposed to do? Fight? With what? So you disappeared. I survived. The words came out harder than intended. I built a life for my children, a good life. Until now. Lucas closed his laptop. Madeline's getting desperate. The engagement announcement triggered something. She's been making calls, meeting with people she shouldn't. Whatever she's hiding, it's bigger than just breaking up a college romance. What do you want from me? The truth. All of it. Help me expose what really happened, and I'll help you protect your kids. Before I could respond, my phone exploded with texts. All from Marcus at the rescue center. 911, Sophie's missing. Went to feed the seals, never came back. Calling police. I was running before Lucas could ask what was wrong. Out of the cafe, into the rain, my car keys already in my hand. The drive to Bainbridge had never felt longer. Every red light an eternity, every slow driver a personal insult. By the time I reached the center, police cars were already there. Ethan's yacht was moored at our small dock, and he was talking to an officer, gesturing toward the beach. Liam sat on the steps, tears streaming down his face, Marcus's arm around him. Mom! He flew to me. Sophie went to look for sea glass. She always does that, but she didn't come back, and there were footprints and— Shh, baby, we'll find her. I looked over his head at Ethan. What are you doing here? I came to see the seals. His face was granite. Hannah, there was a note. The officer handed me an evidence bag. Inside, a piece of paper with typed words. Stop digging, or she goes where you'll never find her. My knees buckled. Ethan caught me, his arms strong and familiar and absolutely wrong for this moment. This is about me, he said quietly. About the investigation into the company. Someone thinks you know something. I don't know anything. They don't care about truth. They care about leverage. He looked at the officer. Check the old Murphy cabin on the North Shore. It's been abandoned for years, but how do you know about that? I pulled away from him. Because I own it. Bought the property last month. His eyes were wild. If someone wanted to hide, we moved as one. Parents united by terror. Ethan's boat was faster than waiting for the police to coordinate. Liam stayed with Marcus, and I promised we'd bring his sister home. The cabin materialized through the rain like something from a horror movie. Broken windows, sagging roof. The forest trying to reclaim it. Ethan cut the engine, and we could hear it, soft crying from inside. Sophie! I was out of the boat before it fully stopped, splashing through knee-deep water. Wait, Ethan grabbed me. If someone's in there, I don't care. But he was already moving ahead, using his body as a shield. Together, we approached the cabin, every sound making my heart stutter. The door was ajar. Inside, Sophie sat on a moldy couch, hands zip-tied, duct tape across her mouth. Alone. The relief nearly killed me. Sophie buried her face in my neck as I carried her to the boat, her small body shaking with residual fear. Ethan had cut the zip ties with his pocket knife, gentle as a surgeon, whispering reassurances while I peeled away the duct tape. Did you see who did this, sweetheart? I asked once we were safe on the water, heading back to the police. She shook her head. They had a mask, but what? They smelled like flowers. Expensive flowers. She wrinkled her nose. Like that lady at Daddy's work. I felt Ethan go rigid beside me. We hadn't told her anything about him, yet she'd said, Whose work, Sophie? He asked carefully. Nobody's. She pressed closer to me. I meant Marcus. But the slip hung in the air between us, heavy with implication. Kids know things. Even when you think you're protecting them, they know. The police took our statements, processed the scene, found nothing but the footprints leading to and from the cabin. Professional, they said, someone who knew what they were doing. That night, I deadbolted every door and window, checked them twice, then sat in the hallway between the twins' rooms with a baseball bat. Ethan had wanted to stay, but I'd sent him away. I needed to think, to process, to figure out how to protect my babies from a threat I didn't understand. At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. That was a warning. Next time we keep her. I screenshotted it, forwarded it to the detective handling the case, then did what I'd sworn I'd never do. I called Ethan. Hannah? He answered on the first ring, voice alert like he hadn't been sleeping either. They texted, they're going to try again. Pack a bag. You're coming to my place. We can't. Hannah. His voice broke. Please. I have security. A gate. Let me protect them. Let me protect you. The words I'd needed 9 years ago, finally spoken when it might be too late. By dawn, we were at his estate in Medina, across the lake from Seattle. The twins thought it was an adventure, eyes wide at the massive house, the pool, the grounds that looked like a park. They didn't know we were running. Your room's upstairs, Ethan told them. Third door on the right. There's a PlayStation and everything. They thundered up the stairs, and we were alone in his too-perfect kitchen, the weight of unspoken things crushing us both. Talk to me, he said. When did you find out you were pregnant? 2 weeks after you left. I traced patterns on the marble counter. I tried calling. Your number was disconnected. My father made me change it, said I needed a clean break from the gold digger who'd played me. The old hurt flared. Is that what you thought? That I was after money? I didn't know what to think. The emails were so detailed. The photos were faked. Technology's amazing when you pay the right people. I laughed bitterly. Madeline always was good at planning ahead. Why would she? He stopped. Oh. Yeah, oh. She'd been in love with you since freshman year. I was supposed to be her wing woman, not the competition. I met his eyes. She played the long game and won. No. He moved closer, careful, like I might bolt. She didn't win. She destroyed everything good in my life and called it victory. You were going to marry her. I was going through the motions. Board pressure, family expectations. 8 years of feeling dead inside because the only woman I ever loved? He stopped. Because I was an idiot who believed lies instead of trusting my heart. The twins' laughter echoed from upstairs, breaking the moment. Reality crashed back. We weren't college kids anymore. We were parents with a stalker, a mystery, and 9 years of damage between us. I need to tell you something, I said, about Lucas Chen. Ethan listened as I explained about the cafe, the investigation, Madeline's payments. His face darkened with each word. She's not just protecting the lie about us, he said finally. She's protecting something bigger, something worth kidnapping a child over. Lucas said she made a withdrawal the week before you broke up with me. $50,000 in cash. That's not enough to fake those photos and emails, not for the quality she showed me. He pulled out his phone. I need to make some calls. Check the company's old financial records. Ethan. I caught his hand. Whatever this is, it's not worth risking the twins. They're my kids too. The words hung between us, finally spoken. Aren't they? I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. Then I'll burn down the world to keep them safe, starting with finding out what Madeline's really hiding. The truth unraveled like a spool of rotten thread, each pull revealing more decay beneath. Ethan's forensic accountant found it first, a series of shell companies, fake invoices, money flowing in circles until it disappeared. All traced back to that week 9 years ago when my life fell apart. It wasn't 50,000, Ethan said, pacing his home office while I sat frozen on the leather couch. It was 5 million, embezzled from my father's company through a subsidiary Madeline had access to as an intern. She stole $5 million? And used 50,000 of it to destroy us. The rest? He showed me the screen. Offshore accounts, investments. She's been living off the interest while playing the perfect society lawyer. Your father never noticed? The subsidiary folded 6 months later. Bad investments, everyone said. Dad wrote it off as a tax loss. His laugh was bitter. He was so focused on breaking us up, he never saw the real threat. A knock interrupted us. Sophie peeked around the door, Mr. Buttons clutched in her arms. Mom, Liam won't stop playing video games and I'm bored. Come here, baby. I pulled her onto my lap, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent. Safe, whole, here. Is this our dad? She asked it so casually, pointing at Ethan like she was asking about the weather. I felt him stop breathing. What makes you think that? Liam looks just like him, and you get that funny face when you look at him. She demonstrated, scrunching her features. Like you're happy and sad at the same time? Sophie, it's okay, she said, patting my cheek with one small hand. We figured it out ages ago. Liam wants to know if he can call him Dad. The tears came without warning. 9 years of carefully constructed walls crumbling under the simple acceptance of a child. Hey. Ethan knelt beside us, his voice rough. If you want, both of you, I'd really like that. Sophie studied him with those serious gray eyes. Will you teach us to sail for real? Every weekend if you want. And come to my science fair? Wouldn't miss it. And not leave again? The question hung in the air, heavy with inherited abandonment fears. Never, he said. I promise. She nodded, satisfied, and wiggled free. I'm going to tell Liam. After she ran off, I couldn't look at him. They asked about you. Every birthday, every Father's Day. I never knew what to say. What did you tell them? That sometimes people who love each other can't be together, that it wasn't their fault. I finally met his eyes. I never told them you didn't know. I couldn't bear for them to think you'd chosen to leave if you'd known. His phone rang before he could respond. Lucas Chen. Turn on the news, Lucas said without preamble. Channel 5. The breaking news banner screamed, prominent Seattle lawyer arrested in financial fraud scheme. Madeline's mugshot filled the screen. Even in booking photos, she looked perfect, except for the wild desperation in her eyes. She broke, Lucas continued, started confessing to everything. The embezzlement, the forged evidence against Hannah, even bribing a lab tech to falsify some medical records. What medical records? I interrupted. Silence. Then, you should ask Ethan about his father. The line went dead. I turned to find Ethan pale, staring at his phone. My father had a heart attack last year, he said slowly. During the surgery, they found some anomalies in his blood work. Ran a bunch of tests. He looked up, including a paternity test. Why would... He'd been paranoid about gold diggers since my mother died. Wanted to make sure any grandchildren were really Prescott's. His laugh was hollow. Guess he never expected to find out his son wasn't. The room tilted. What? I'm adopted. He never told me. Found out from a test he ordered to prove your kids weren't mine. He sank into a chair. Madeline knew. She'd seen the original adoption papers during her internship. That's what she's been holding over him. The payments were to keep her quiet about the Prescott heir not being a Prescott at all. He scrubbed his face. She didn't kidnap Sophie as a warning to you. It was a warning to him. Stop the investigation or lose everything. My phone buzzed. The twins, texting from upstairs. Can we have pizza for dinner with extra cheese, please, please, please? Normal, mundane, perfect. None of it matters, I said. The money, the company, the lies, none of it matters. No? They want pizza. I showed him the texts, complete with emoji overload. Our kids want pizza. Everything else is just noise. He stared at the phone, then at me, and for the first time in 9 years, I saw the boy I'd fallen in love with. Not the heir, not the CEO, just Ethan. Pizza it is, he said. Extra cheese. And pineapple. Sophie loves pineapple. But he was smiling, really smiling, just like her mother. The package arrived 3 days later, delivered to the rescue center where I'd gone to check on the animals. No return address, just my name in careful block letters. Inside, a USB drive and a single sheet of paper. The truth about your children. My hands shook as I called Ethan. You need to come here, now. He arrived in 15 minutes. Must have broken every speed limit. We plugged the drive into my ancient office computer, away from the twins who were helping Marcus feed the seals. Medical records filled the screen. Test results, lab reports, all dated during my pregnancy. And there, highlighted in yellow, the thing that made my blood freeze. Paternity test results. Twin B, female. Probability of paternity, 0% no. The word came out strangled. No, that's not. I know. Ethan's hand found mine. Look at the signature. Dr. Patricia Sims, the OB who'd delivered the twins, who'd retired immediately after moving to Costa Rica, who'd been college roommates with your father, I whispered. She was friends with your father. The rest of the files painted the picture. Falsified test results, bribes to lab technicians, an elaborate scheme to ensure that if I ever tried to claim the twins were Ethan's, there would be proof that at least one wasn't. He was that determined to keep me away, I said numbly. He was that afraid of losing control. Ethan pulled me against him. Hannah, Sophie has your eyes, your smile, that little wrinkle between her eyebrows when she's thinking. She's ours. Both of them are ours. But if this gets out, it won't matter. He turned my face to his. We'll run real tests, prove what we already know, and then we're going to make sure everyone involved pays for what they did. Through the window, I could see Liam attempting to balance a fish on his nose while Sophie laughed. My babies, our babies. Perfect and whole and ours, no matter what any piece of paper said. There's a note, Ethan said, scrolling down. Miss Carter, I thought you should have these before they disappear. Madeline Shaw kept copies as insurance, but her arrest has made certain people nervous. They'll try to destroy all evidence of what was done to you. Don't let them. A friend. Who would... My father's assistant quit last week. 20-year veteran, gone overnight. He smiled grimly. Guess she grew a conscience. That night, we told the twins everything. Well, not everything. They didn't need to know about forged medical records or embezzled millions, but the important parts. That Ethan was their father, that we'd loved each other once, that we'd found our way back. So we can live together? Liam asked, bouncing on the couch. Like a real family. If that's what you want, Ethan said carefully. Can we keep both houses? Sophie, ever practical. I like the beach house, but the pool here is cool. We can work something out. And you'll get married? Liam again, hope shining in his eyes. I felt Ethan's hand find mine. Maybe someday. Soon though, right? Sophie fixed us with that stare. Because Amy's parents just got married and she got to be a flower girl and I want to be one too. Sophie, and I want to carry the rings, Liam interrupted. Can I wear a tux? A real one? They dissolved into wedding planning, arguing about cake flavors and whether we should have dolphins at the ceremony. Liam's idea, obviously. I met Ethan's eyes over their heads, saw my own shell-shocked amusement reflected back. Is this what you want? He asked quietly under the chaos. I wanted it 9 years ago. I squeezed his hand. The question is what we want now. I want mornings like this, bedtime stories and soccer practice and helping with homework. He pulled me closer. I want to make up for every moment I missed. That's not, I know, but I want to try. He pressed his lips to my temple. I love you. Never stopped. Even when I thought you'd betrayed me, I couldn't stop loving you. Dad! Sophie's voice cut through the moment. If you're going to kiss her, do it right. And surrounded by laughter and love and the family we'd almost lost, he did. 1 year later, the morning sun painted the water gold as I stood at the entrance of our new marine sanctuary. The Prescott Carter Marine Wildlife Center, a name that still made me smile. Where Ethan's family money had once built walls, it now built bridges. Pools for rehabilitation, an education center, research facilities, healing in every sense. Mom, Dad's letting me drive the boat. Liam's voice carried across the water. Not really driving, of course. Ethan's hands covered his on the wheel, but the joy on both their faces was worth the minor heart attack. 5 minutes until the ceremony, Marcus reminded me, clipboard in hand, because some things never changed. Lucas just arrived with his camera crew. Lucas Chen, who'd won a Pulitzer for his exposé on corporate corruption and family manipulation, who'd become an unlikely friend through the chaos of trials and testimony. His documentary, The Family That Fought the Tide, had premiered at Sundance to standing ovations. Is she here? I asked quietly. Back row, like you requested. I turned to see Madeline out on bail, sitting alone. She'd pled guilty to everything, turned state's evidence against Ethan's father and his conspirators. 5 years minimum, her lawyer said. But she'd asked to come today, and I'd said yes. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting, but it was choosing to move forward. Catherine! Sophie ran up in her blue dress, clutching a program. That's still so weird. Should I call you Hannah now? Either's fine, baby. I like Hannah better. It sounds happier. She slipped her hand into mine. Are you happy? Very. Good, because Dad's been practicing his speech all week, and he cries every time he gets to the part about you. The ceremony was simple, cutting a ribbon, unveiling a plaque, but when Ethan spoke about second chances and the power of truth, his voice did catch. When he found my eyes in the crowd and said, "This place exists because love is stronger than lies," I wasn't the only one wiping away tears. After, as guests toured the facility, Madeline approached. We hadn't spoken since the trial. It's beautiful, she said quietly. What you've built. What we've built. I'm sorry. The words rushed out. Not just for what I did, but for why. For letting jealousy poison everything good in my life. For hurting children to protect my secrets. I know. How do you forgive someone who did what I did? I thought about it, watching Sophie teach a group of kids about seal habitats while Liam demonstrated his terrible seal impression. I don't know if I have, but I've learned that holding on to anger only poisons the person carrying it. I met her eyes. Do your time. Get help. Build something better when you get out. She nodded, tears streaming. Tell Sophie and Liam, tell them I'm sorry. Maybe someday you can tell them yourself. After she left, Ethan found me on the dock, watching the sunset paint the sky in pastels. You okay? Yeah, I leaned into him. Just thinking. About? How different it all could have been. One truth told instead of a lie. One moment of trust instead of doubt. Hey, he turned me to face him. We can't change the past, but we're here now. Our kids are thriving. The center's going to help hundreds of animals. We found our way back. Through some pretty dark waters. Makes the sunrise even more beautiful. He pulled out a small box, and my heart stopped. Speaking of which, Ethan, Liam picked it out. Said it had to be blue like the ocean. Sophie insisted on something that sparkled like seal eyes in the sun. He dropped to one knee right there on the dock. I know we said someday, but yes, I haven't asked yet. Yes, anyway, he laughed, slipping the ring on my finger. It was perfect. A sapphire surrounded by diamonds, catching the light like water. Dad, did she say yes? Liam's voice echoed across the water. She said yes, Ethan called back. The twins came running, throwing themselves at us in a tangle of limbs and laughter. Sophie immediately started planning while Liam wanted to know if he could wear his whale costume to the wedding. As the sun sank lower, painting everything gold, I thought about the morning fog that had hidden so much for so long. How it had protected me but also kept me from seeing clearly. Now, in the light, with my family whole and healed, I understood something. Sometimes the tide has to go all the way out before it can come back in. And when it returns, it brings treasures you never knew you'd lost. Ready to go home? Ethan asked, twins hanging off his arms. Home. Such a simple word for such a complicated journey. Yeah, I said, taking Sophie's outstretched hand. Let's go home.